Hey everyone, nice to be on here after a little break. Yeah, I guess we'll just get straight into the messages that Nyame Source has for us today. But I hope that you're all doing well, and yeah, let's see what's up. So just using this deck today, don't know what it's called. What guidance and affirmations you have for us, the collective, today? What guidance and affirmations you have for us, the collective, today? What guidance? One more, please. What guidance and affirmations you have for us, the collective, today? What guidance and affirmations you have for us, the collective, today? What guidance and information you have for us, the collective, today? Okay. We had the Death card come out, but I just flipped that back in. But we have 10 of Wands, Queen of Swords, King of Swords, Knight of Swords, very interesting. And then we had 7 of Pentacles come out, but reversed. The Temperance on the base of the deck. Okay, so from just reading these, there are some new structures that are being built collectively with the 10 of Wands. So there are some new structures, and some of these structures that are being built, I'm actually even hearing like within society. So these are wider structures. A lot of things will be changing. A lot of things will be coming down. A lot of things will be being put up. If you're looking at this image, you can see this person is kind of pushing up that structure. And a lot of this will be challenging. So a lot of us would have already felt the different structures being changed within society. So it could even be like new laws, new policies within the government and stuff like that. And yeah, so these things look like they will actually be a bit challenging. I'm hearing challenging to be put up, challenging to be taken down. But with 10 of Wands, or the Wands in particular, that's quick. So these things might happen quite quickly, even though they are challenging. So things being put up quickly, things being taken down quickly is what I'm hearing. But I'm also seeing, and I think in this card in particular, if I am not mistaken, but what I'm seeing anyway, is that it's a community effort. So even though there's just one person here, I am seeing it as, collective, as this is a collective reading. So collectively, we will all be working together, or people, communities will be working together to put up new structures and rebuilding. I'm also hearing as well from like certain things to do with climate change, things that are being torn down because of the weather, which is a direct response to us. Rebuilding, reconstructing, things being torn down that aren't necessary. Also things that are being torn down that even could be necessary, but yeah. Queen of Swords, King of Swords. This is interesting because, yeah, that's like a pair. And then we had the Knight of Swords. I'm seeing Source say, like, within this, different types of people coming together and bringing their heads together. So, excuse me, a lot of us will be needing to work together with others, but in a more logical sense, or just thinking using our head space rather than our heart space. I'm also seeing a lot of conversations happening between people. So there might need to be an openness in community in terms of what we're building, the structures that we're building, the challenges that we're going through with the new structures that are being put up or implemented or torn down. In order to rebuild, we'll be needing to have logical conversations. So maybe not moving from a heart space as a negative thing, but it might be more beneficial for us in this next wee while to really be thinking a lot more logically, to be speaking clearly. For example, Queen of Swords doesn't take any shit. Queen of Swords is someone that speaks up, that is clear, that can see through any bullshit or deceit or lies. So, I'm hearing Source say that it's important for us to trust the things that we're seeing, what we're seeing in regards to other people. I'm also hearing that for some of us, if we're getting inklings about other people, like being shown certain things, it doesn't even have to be people, but our intuition telling us certain things about certain situations, what's working, what's not working. Because this is a quick moving energy, I'm also seeing that it'll be easy for us to miss certain things or not trust the inklings that we're getting, and then even potentially get fucked over a little bit, or as the Queen of Swords typically can see through deceit or see through illusion and has a strong radar in that regard. If we're not trusting that instinct, we will see in turn how we should have trusted the little thing that was speaking to us, if that makes sense. So yeah, Queen of Swords, King of Swords, again, very logical. Even there's a lot of bluntness here, and we might be required to be blunt with each other. I'm seeing here with King of Swords, Queen of Swords, Knight of Swords, there could be some family situations here where things really need to be clear cut, straight to the point. You might need to be blunt with someone. And there could be children involved as well with the King of Swords, Queen of Swords, Knight of Swords. But again, this is about conversation. This might even be conversations online that some of us are having with each other. It could be through social media. There could even be wider structures that are being brought down or replaced within social media, for example. I don't know how, but there might be a lot of social media conversations. I think this card actually flipped over, reversed over there, and I just have been reminded of Mercury retrograde as well. So I think that is also, which I don't know when that starts or ends, just go Google it. But yeah, we might need to be super clear with our intention, with what we're saying, because things could easily get mixed up at this time. But a lot of social media conversations, but also with the King of Swords and Queen of Swords, the other thing to note is that there is a bluntness, and when imbalanced, because it's always good to talk about the imbalances, when imbalanced, these two can be very, very cutthroat, and even harmful in speech. So I guess collectively we're being reminded, even though we're being blunt, even though we're sharing these even wisdoms and just things we're discerning, we need to make sure that we're saying them with some sort of compassion and discernment in the ways in which we speak. We can be blunt and straight up, but we don't need to cut another person's head off. So even if someone else is coming at you sideways, Source is reminding us that we don't need to come at them sideways. Try keep your sword straight is what I'm hearing. Don't be cutthroat unnecessarily. I also just heard, don't put all your business on social media at this time. I don't know what that is about, or if you are, just be a little bit wise about the ways in which you're using social media. So that could even be we have close friends for a reason, utilizing the close friends, what's it called? Feature on Instagram. Okay, so we had 7 of Pentacles, and this came out reversed. this is about investment. So a lot of us will be talking about what we're invested in. It doesn't even need to be money, but it could be physical, tangible things that we're having conversations about. And the structures to do with that, going back to 10 of Wands. So having those logical conversations about what are we building? How are we going to make this happen? But reversed, there is a sort of loss of investment. So some of us might be talking on the things that we feel like we have lost, the things that we have invested in that we haven't seen the fruit of our labor, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes we plant seeds and we don't see the growth of them, in whatever form or shape that is, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, there might even be some of us that might be having conversation about our actual money and savings and how we feel like there's no fruitfulness there. But there's a logic that is going to come into play that we're going to have to utilize. And everyone has access to that. Some of us might feel like we're a bit more emotional, but we all have access to this logic. We all have a mind and a brain. So Source is calling us in this season, however long this energy runs for you, to utilize our logic and not to move too much from our emotion. Always good to acknowledge it, but important to balance it out with the logic and note what we have invested in that we haven't seen the fruitfulness of, and to speak about these things. So if we're feeling like we've put effort into something, we've invested our money or our time into something and it's not really growing, it's important for us to be honest about that and be upfront about that with whoever we need to be upfront about that with. We also have the Temperance at the base of the deck. So this is about patience, our favorite. In all of this, we are being called to activate patience. So even though maybe potentially we might not be seeing the growth that we want to see collectively at this time, that doesn't mean it's not coming as well. So Source is reminding us that we do have to be patient with our own personal growth as well, and also the growth of the things that we are investing in, whether it's relationships, business, anything that we want to see fruitfulness in or change in. And also I'm being reminded of actual planting or gardening. Sometimes we do plant and we don't see the fruit of our labor in that season, but we learned something about what not to do or what we could do better next time. So Source is reminding us that typical quote, there's no such thing as failure, and that everything is a learning thing. And if we learn from what we have kind of done now, then we can not make the same mistake or the next, it won't happen again, essentially. But again, being patient with our own growth, being patient with other people in conversation too, even though it's hard. And this is also about stillness with an expansion. So maybe collectively at this time we're going through more of a still period. Might be quite quick, like I said before. But it might be important for us to be still in order to receive. I'm also hearing downloads. So Knight of Swords to me can also be ideas and stuff. So if some of us are wanting new or fresh ideas or ways of going about things, we need to be still and take the time to actually be still to receive that. So whatever stillness means to you, doesn't mean, as I always say, doesn't mean you have to go and sit in a room by yourself and not do anything, but it could be journaling, it could be stretching, it could be going for a walk, could be listening a little bit more during your day and talking a little less in order to receive, if that makes sense. And the other thing about that, like I said, was Temperance is about expansion and healing. So all of this, all of what we are collectively going through, these structures being rebuilt and torn down, is essentially a healing for us. And I'm hearing a healing practice. So yeah, I don't know if some of us may be like tapping into our healing practices a little bit more, or being called to lean into our healing practices, whatever those are, look like, it would be beneficial for us. Okay, I'll pull one more card and then I'll end this. What guidance do you have for us collective at this time? What guidance do you have for us collective at this time? The Chariot with the Hangman at the base of the deck. Yeah, so we're really getting direction, it looks like. I always forget whether the Chariot is Aries or Cancer, but when I think of both of those signs as like personality, Cancer, I feel like Cancer is always underestimated in terms of how much they go hard and like go get what they want. If I think of all the Cancers that I have known in my life, or most of them anyway, super hard working, or I want to say smart working, like know how to I just want to say know how to play the field, but not like in that way, more so in a strategy, knowing how to move in order to get what they want. And Aries are quite similar in that way. They go after what they want wholeheartedly. And so I'm being brought to those two energies. And I guess collectively that's what we're being called to move into, is this wholeheartedness to go after what we want. This is an energy of being direct, again, like I was saying. So not only with our speech, but with our movements. I think in another deck, the Chariot is holding a pentacle as they're moving forward. And so there's reminders for us collectively that we're holding that pentacle, which is either that tangible idea, that thing that we can use to invest into what we want to see grow. Could even just be grounding and stability within ourselves and how we're ushering that forward within our lives. Yeah, the Chariot is very direct and moves forward like no other card within the tarot. And with the Hangman at the base of the deck, this can actually be seen as a pause. So some of us might need to take a pause, that time of stillness again before we move in the direction that we need to move in. And I'm also hearing to gain momentum. So that stillness that we have been called to, like, I'm hearing seep into, to really immerse ourselves into for a short period of time, is in order to drive us forward so we can be clear about what direction we're going in, especially if we are a bit confused or lacking clarity when it comes to our ideas or what we want to do or how we want to go about things, whatever it may be. And also the Hangman, again, for me, is about sacrifice. What are we sacrificing? You know, there's always a sacrifice, an offering. You know, when we commune with our ancestors, we don't just take for free. We give an offering. We pour libation. We pray. We sing. We dance. We light a candle. Whatever it is, we give food. We pour water. There's always an exchange. And I think that is always something to remember within our communion as we continue to strengthen our connection to Samai for Asase, ancestors and land. There's always an exchange, and that's the way that this world works, you know. You can't really get past the exchange. And I think sometimes people try to skip out on, oh, I don't want to sacrifice that in order to get that. I just want that. But you're not going to get that if you don't put in the sacrifice. And I think a lot of people miss out on certain things because they don't want to sacrifice, whether it's their time, their energy, their resources, you know. For example, for myself, for getting where I've wanted to get to, there are certain things that I have had to sacrifice, and that's just how it is. And so Source is reminding us of the sacrifice here. What are we offering in order to give, in order to get what we want to receive? Even in connections, what are you offering? If you don't like the word sacrifice, what are you offering in exchange for what you want to receive? Even if it's with your loved one, or in collaboration with someone. What are you giving? Yeah, so I think I will leave that there. I'm sending you all heaps of love, and hopefully I will be up on here soon.